and Fridays with Frank with our hosts, Paul Hollis, author of the Hollow Man series, owner of Hollow Man Publishing, and Frank Fiore, author and host of Fridays with Frank. Frank, how are you? I know you're excited about our guest.
Doing well.
All right, our guest today is Christopher Berg, and I'm excited to talk to him about this amazing products and everything. Christopher, tell us a little about your background, how you got involved with this organization, and I love the axe, by the way, Christopher.
Fantastic. No, thanks for your invitation. So again, the company that I'm working for is Hultafors Group North America. And I'm the vice president of international brands, and that includes the ladders that we talked about, and also the axe that you just referred to, but also a couple others. It's a global company based out of Sweden, and a lot of familiar brands: Johnson Level, CLC Work Gear. So it's about 15 powerhouse brands, and I'm based out of our U.S. headquarters here in just north of Milwaukee in Mequon. So. And I'm excited to be here to talk about these products as well.
Absolutely. And before, I'll let you guys have questions after you kind of learn a little bit of background. But Christopher, how did you get hooked up with the company from another country, Sweden? That's got to be crazy how it happened.
I've got a bit of an odd background, but so my mom's actually from New Zealand, so I was raised with that kind of having a global mindset to begin with, and I had an opportunity to study abroad, work abroad. I've worked for a couple different companies that were global, so it kind of became my wheelhouse, I guess. I speak a couple other languages, and I always had kind of my eye on Hultafors because of the brands they have, and life brings you in certain directions, and my path crossed with this company, and it looked like a great opportunity. We're a big company, but it's a startup opportunity bringing awesome brands into the market. And that's right, like I said, right in my wheelhouse.
All right, good. Frank, what question do you have for Christopher?
Yeah, well, first question I have is what makes your ladder so distinctive, so different?
Well, one that I'd say the first thing is the fact that they're telescopic ladders. So traditional ladders, as you know, might be an A-frame leaning extension. Big difference with our product is telescopic. It's hard to describe, but when you see it in action and actually touch it, you'll be able to gather that. Think of like a series of overlapping, interlocking aluminum rails that when you connect them together, they create a ladder. And I was thinking about what parallels could you draw if you golf. Then you probably have a ball retriever, right? So it collapses down to that, short stick, or you extend it out. And regrettably, that's the club that I use the most in my bag. So same kind of concept of telescoping technology there. So that's the main difference. And as you can imagine, if it collapses down, I mean, our shortest ladder collapses to 30 inches, so it's lightweight and super compact. And unlike fixed ladders, you can really adjust the height to exactly what you want rather than having to grab a ladder that's too long. So that would be the main difference, I would say.
But there are telescopic ladders on the market, correct?
Yes. In fact, they've been around for a while. We've rebranded our product here in the U.S. And why I say that is our company invented the telescopic ladder close to 30 years ago. It's branded Telesteps outside of North America. And that was invented and has been sold for 30 years. And so we know it extremely well. There's been copycats like other invention. There's always copycats and Me Too's. The biggest difference between our product, beyond the fact that it's made with Swedish aluminum in our state-of-the-art facility in central Sweden, we have the rail, which is called the side of the ladder. We have a very unique patented design, and it's more of a triangular design versus a round tube design. And I don't want to get too techy because I'm incapable, but two, it basically comes down to that triangular tube design makes our ladder stronger and more rigid. So when you when you grab a ladder and you kind of twist it back and forth, you want to make sure that that's stable. And the competition, those round tube designs, it frankly feels like two pool noodles, and that's not a real reassuring feeling when you're getting up on a ladder.
No, it doesn't seem like a reassuring feeling. And can you explain the difference between a regular ladder and a telescopic ladder?
So again, regular ladders, there's a broad range of categories, but let's just take a straight leaning ladder. So that's just a ladder that you would, as it sounds, it's just lean it up against whatever structure you're trying to climb up on. But that ladder has a fixed length. Sometimes it's 8, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 12. It could be higher than that. It's a fixed length versus a telescopic ladder where it collapses down like this. Like I said, the ball retriever and accordion kind of collapses down to 30 inches, at least on one of our ladders. But then you can adjust that ladder up and down to exactly what height you need. So say, for example, you wanted to get to 4 feet. You have the ability on a telescopic ladder to set that ladder to open it up so that it's open to 4 feet. If you needed 6 feet, 8 feet. So super convenient. And again, easy to transport, easy to use, and easy to store.
Paul, do you have a question about the ladder?
Yeah, this seems very interesting. Where can I get this, and like where can I buy it, and how much does it cost approximately?
So we have, I'm referring to one of our ladders. So we have three straight ladders or straight telescopic, and then we have also, I didn't mention, we call it a combi, or it's a combination telescopic ladder that is essentially 3 ladders in one. It's A-frame ladder, a step ladder, and a leaning ladder, and it's of course a lot more functional, and but nonetheless, I wanted to mention those two. But you can find our ladders are like I said, we're based in the United States. We have an extensive network of distribution, and you can find the ladders today, frankly, at a number of retailers. I would say visit our website, which is wsteps.us, and just click on the retailers page, and you'll be able to find distributor near you. In terms of prices, we start out at about $3.99 retail. Again, we don't set the price. We guide the distribution network, but starting at $3.99 and going up from there depending on the length of the ladder.
It's interesting when you talk about this, that you mentioned the word startup. So how long have they been in the United States trying to distribute in the US? So this is where the challenge is, right? To get the word out. You talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, that is always the challenge. And so we just launched this ladder brand as an example at World of Concrete. So we were there a couple of weeks ago, and that's when we kind of unveil and reveal to the market, and above all, get feedback from the pro end users that are there. But I think the biggest challenge, even with a premium product like this that's been selling for decades, is there's a lot of brands out on the market today, a lot of really great brands in the ladder category. And we've just got to find our niche and get the best way to sell, Neil, is getting it in the hands of the end user. Because once they, as I mentioned, the pool noodle, I mean, once an end user or pro gets this in their hands, they can tell right away that it's quality and it's worth paying the price for.
Go ahead, Frank. Another question. You're on mute, Frank. I'll go back, and then when you jump in, you can jump in. Now, let's talk about the axe for a second. I mean, handcrafted, looks amazing. I could just put it up on my wall. That's how beautiful it is, by the way. But I was telling my girlfriend, I said, "Oh no, I'm going to go out and I'm going to chop some wood now." Who doesn't do it at all. Right. Look, I have a flannel shirt today.
You're perfectly.
So if I get upset from the move and I just want to just break stuff apart, I could use the axe, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the axe that we sent you, Neil, was it's a new, we call it the Spika. It's Spika. Again, reference to location in Sweden, but all of our axes are under the Hults Bruk I guess, brand name, and we have, model names like the Spica. We've been building axes in central Sweden for over 325 years. Same forge, same factory. Obviously new blacksmiths. We don't have any blacksmiths that are over 300 years old, but it's quite an amazing place. And this axe, like the other axes, hand forged in that plant, made with Swedish steel, hand finished. And interestingly enough, which I found out when I came in the industry, but all of our handles are made from American hickory, which I believe right now is sourced from Alabama, and that's because American hickory is such has such a high strength because of the grain pattern in it. So yeah, you've got that new one in your hands now.
Absolutely. And like I said, I can't wait. And what do you see your axes? What are they best used for? Especially the type of axe.
Well, the one that I shared, the one that we just launched, we would call that a kind of a multi-purpose axe. And what I mean by that is it's good for things like precision work, carving, whittling, but also some other, bushcraft camping activities like chopping, splitting, and just trail maintenance. But if I step back, you can go really deep on the whole axe category, but axes are one of three basic types. I mean, technically there's well over 20 different types, but we don't have the time for that. So you have, first category would be hatchets, and those are smaller axes that are used for basic chopping or, as a camping tool. And then you have what's called felling axes. So those are the longer axes, longer handles, they have heavier heads, and they're used for felling trees and chopping wood. And if you see somebody swinging an axe sideways, that's a felling axe. So that's the second category. And then finally, you have a splitting axe, which is also known as a maul, but let's call it a splitting axe. Looks like a felling axe, has a long handle, but the heads are a lot heavier, and they have a distinct wedge on the head for splitting the wood. And, then of course there's variations within those three categories. So the Spica really kind of is a hybrid between, a hatchet and splitting and felling. It has all the basic functionality of the other axes, but super portable. And you see how lightweight and handy that one is.
It totally is. Frank, questions about axes. Again, Frank is a Western author who lives in Arizona now. And Frank, kind of your thought process on axes. Are you an outdoorsman?
Well, can you distinguish exactly how it's different than most axes, and why would I want to? I'm a homeowner, right? But I live up in the mountains, up in the trees.
Yeah.
What do you think? Which one would apply to me, and why?
Well, in addition to the three categories, Frank, I of course you can walk into an outdoor retail store, a hardware store, and you can find axes. So you've got your basic axes that might be more, they might have composite handles, they might have wood handles. There's a full gamut of that. And why would you buy our axe? Well, we're a premium axe, meaning it's hand forged. The steel is Swedish steel, so based on the lack of impurities, it's a more consistent, more durable steel, so it's going to last a long time. And then, like I said, the high quality American hickory is another reason why you'd probably want to step up. So you can buy an axe for $10 if you wanted to, or you can pay a couple $100. It really depends on what you're looking for. And I think longevity and durability, Frank, is probably the key. Neil said, yeah, I'll put it up in my, I can put it up on a shelf, and I can tell you, Neil, there's a lot of people that buy our axes just to have as a mantelpiece because they are cool. But on the other end, there's a lot of really heavy users as well.
Well, I'm probably gonna have to do some of the heavy using, even though I'm not an outdoorsman at all at anything. So I'm sure that you have potential videos on YouTube on how to use them. Who knows? That could be an idea,
absolutely,
to get people. Now, the thing that people say, okay, we're not buying American. Is it easy when we go and order it that it comes from, Sweden to the US and the distribution? So let's say I go to the website and I go and purchase an axe or purchase anything, or is it a long process or can you get shipped pretty quickly?
No, not at all. Like I mentioned, again, we're a global company. We're privately held, based out of Sweden, but I mentioned Johnson Level CLC work here. I mean, we're here in Wisconsin. We have a distribution center here in Wisconsin. We have all the products that I referred to that are, probably 20 minutes away from where I'm sitting today. So absolutely, no issues with stock. And then we have the distribution network that carries those brands. So you could go, we have a local hardware store within 15 minutes. We're selling these, the axes and the ladders there as well. So widespread availability. Sometimes when we bring the product over initially, we're kind of guessing what kind of demand we're going to get, but we're fully loaded on all those products.
Well, that's wonderful. Great news for sure. Paul, any questions for Christopher? Any more?
Yeah, actually, I do. I'm interested in safety tips and that. And I am the last ladder I was on fell off of and shattered an ankle. But are there any tips that your products have that are kind of different? I mean, like, can you save my life with your tools? I mean, is there something different about them that says, okay, you got to do this and the ladders won't fall, and you got to do this, and the axe won't bounce back on you, and that sort
No,
of thing?
I'm glad you brought that up, Paul, because of course we're here promoting the products, but number one priority is safety. I'd say in both of those categories in particular. Maybe this is the safety show because we're talking about ladders and axes, but yeah, like you said, ladder falls. I pulled some stats because I thought maybe this topic would come up, but among construction workers, 81% of fall injuries in the US involve a ladder. So it is a pretty common occurrence. And I would say from day one, when the team designed this product, a couple decades ago, safety was a top priority. And on the ladders that I just described, the W steps ladders, there's a few things to point out, and I'll use the kind of the human body or skeleton as kind of the comparison. So first of all, the backbone of the ladder, which we call the rails, you got to make sure you have a strong ladder, strong material. Our ladders are made from aircraft grade aluminum, Swedish aluminum, so very strong. I mentioned the triangular tube design, which is important to make sure that the ladder stay as stable as it can. Every ladder is going to flex a little bit, but of course you don't want to have a lot of, side to side, left to right, torsional movement. So that's very important. And our triangular tube design minimizes that. The other thing about our telescopic ladders is each section of the ladder kind of sits in the one next to it. So there's overlapping that increases the strength of the ladder. So that's important. And simple things like the width of the rung of a ladder. Ours are about 30% wider than most others. They're metal, and that's important because you want to have a secure and level place to put your foot. And also you don't want to fatigue. We've all been on those ladders that have the really narrow rungs, and if you stand on them for an extended period of time, you can really feel it in your ankles. So, and then things that we have that competition doesn't. I would say number one, we have adjustable safety feet, and that's an add-on accessory that basically screws right into the bottom of the ladder. And imagine, most ladders you would say, yeah, perfect world, you're on perfectly level ground, but that's never the case. Go to any job site, you're going to see ladders that are used, and there's, dirt, concrete, there's stuff all over the place. So you want to make sure you get that ladder as level as possible. And when you can adjust the feet, that allows you to straighten it out. Stabilizer bars is another thing. Standard equipment. Those are Paul, those are things that attach to the bottom of the ladder that kind of extend out and give you two more additional points of contact. So So there's quite a list, but I would say it's what is it made of? How is it made? And, you know, how well does the ladder stay, you know, stable and comfortable? And of course, our product is ANSI certified. That's the, you know, testing body that evaluates, you know, everything from materials, load bearing capacity and compliance. And our ladders are all type 1A, which is a heavy duty certification. So they've been through the ringer, if you will, with ANSI.
Wow. Great safety question, Paul. Love it. And you said you guys should have a podcast for the United States to educate people on ladders and axes. It's very interesting how much importance the product is now with like the home shopping network with TikTok and all these different places, because that's really the one that an opportunity can come, but it's all about creating content and stuff. But Frank and Paul, Frank, any any questions for Christopher?
Nope, I don't.
All right. So Christopher, best place people can purchase the items is go where?
I'd say go to both of our websites, because there you'll be able to find a retailer near you. So again, for the ladders, it's wsteps.us. You may hear some people refer to that as V-steps, because that's how the Swedish people pronounce the W. So that's the ladders. And then the second is Hults Bruk. So HULTSBRUK, 1697, because that's the year the company was founded. .se rather than .com or .us. So yeah, just Google the brands. That'll take you to our website, and that's the place to find out more information.
All right. We appreciate it, sir. Thanks again.
Been wonderful. Thank you for the opportunity. And you guys have a great afternoon. Good luck with your relo, and be careful with the apps.
Great educating us. You did an amazing job. All right. That was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and Fridays with Frank, guys. Take care.